I have the pleasure to tell you about things that we're doing in the HashiCorp portfolio. Very appropriate after the discussion on rate of change, yeah, and now we're seeing the rate of change that HashiCorp is actually releasing our new products, new features, and things that we are planning to do. So I'll talk a little bit about the future, things we just released for Terraform, for Vault, Consul, and also I'll touch a little bit on Boundary and Nomad. So that's going to be the agenda. We'll go in a whirlwind tour through all of the news that we have around these 5 different products, and I hope you can all learn something new from them. Some of these items are still a little bit roadmap. So that means roadmaps are always, things can change, things can be removed, things can be delayed or whatever. So this is just normal, yeah. So they're not guarantees that things will be delivered, the things that we're working on. So Terraform. I don't think Terraform needs any introduction. Yeah, I'm sure everybody in this room is almost using Terraform. So we'll get straight into it. So what is new in Terraform? And these are the things that we have released slightly less than a month ago at HashiCorp, so our worldwide conference. It's one of the major points every year where we release new software. So we've actually introduced a Terraform test framework, and not just one Terraform test framework, a whole suite of different solutions and modules to help build Terraform solutions and increase the quality of the code that we're doing as well. So that includes test integrated module publishing, generated module tests. Most of the tests are declarative. We've got improved cooperation with Visual Studio Code. So that means it's easier to see in Visual Studio Code where the errors are in the things that you're writing, and easy to fix those as well as soon as possible. We have introduced Stacks. This is now in private preview. Stacks is a new way of organizing all the resources in your Terraform cloud environment, Terraform enterprise. It allows you to group them together based on different environments. They can share dependencies inside their environment. They can share data and information within that environment as well, and make it easier to deploy larger pieces of infrastructure and similar pieces of infrastructure. This is currently in private preview. And then we have ephemeral workspaces. You could say temporary workspaces. So sometimes you just need workspaces or resources in the cloud for a short amount of time. So we can now have them created in Terraform and deleted after a certain amount of time when you no longer need them. Maybe for development purposes or for testing purposes. I'm not going to go a lot further into Terraform releases because we have dedicated breakout sessions that I want to refer people to. Yeah, so in the Terraform track in the afternoon, we have 2. One is a What's New with Terraform Cloud by Cheryl and Lee, and then we've got integrated testing with Terraform Cloud by Jane Ho. Yeah? So if you're interested to learn more about these topics in particular, please do attend the Terraform track. Now, the most recent thing I can announce actually is from this week. Yeah? So right now, KubeCon is happening in the United States. We've announced 2 new integrations between Terraform Cloud and between Kubernetes in general. So this is Terraform Cloud Operator. So there's the ability to actually control Terraform Cloud runs from inside Kubernetes, so with an object and resource inside Kubernetes, you can actually trigger a run or another activity inside Terraform Cloud. And then now also we provide dynamic provider credentials to do the opposite thing. So basically it allows us to connect from Terraform Cloud to Kubernetes using, instead of fixed credentials, we're now using dynamically provided tokens as well. That means they are easier to use and more secure because they have a shorter validity term as well. This is really brand new, just announced 2 days ago. If you want to know more about this, you can find this in blog posts on the HashiCorp website. Now looking a bit further, so where are we going to take Terraform? Yeah, you can see that our development is roughly looking at 3 areas that they want to improve in. So the first one at the top is around risk, or you could say security and compliance. Yeah? So it's important for our customers. I'll go through the topics first. There's risk, there is speed or time to market, and then there's cost, which is usually something people are concerned about as well. So from the risk or security compliance perspective, we're looking at secure access, continuous compliance, security checking, better lifecycle management for day 2, and also managing images in a secure way. From a time to market perspective, we're looking at faster onboarding, more standardized workflows, and then easier integration with the broad ecosystem as well. We already have a massively broad ecosystem with Terraform, with more than 3,000 providers now with integrations, with things we can provision, and we're going to keep on growing that ecosystem further as well. And then finally, from a cost perspective, we're looking at self-service, make it easier for people to go in and request resources through Terraform, workspace resource optimization. So how can we actually bring that visibility and also bring that cloud cost that we have a bit further. Yeah, we see the problems we discussed earlier in the session with Ned and cloud waste. Yeah, this is problems that we're all facing at the moment. So that's Terraform. We're going to spend a bit of time on Vault. Yeah, I think most people in the room will probably be familiar with Vault, but for those who are not, it's a solution to do secrets management. So secrets management is a way for applications to protect the secrets that they need to function. So think of an application needs to have database credentials to connect to a database. It needs to have TLS private keys to accept SSL or TLS encrypted connections. Those are all secrets. We can store those secrets inside the application, in source code, but that's usually not a good idea, or in configuration files or environment variables. We say, put them inside Vault. You have a central place to store all the secrets that you need for your application. And from the central point, you can view and inventorize what you have. We can rotate those automatically. And we can even do things like dynamic credentials, where we create dynamic credentials on the fly for something like a CI/CD job that only needs access for a short amount of time anyway. And we expanded that to do also PKI and managed key solutions. We added support for various key management protocols, so we can integrate with other solutions as well, and we're offering encryption as a service through Vault as well, just building on these capabilities that we have. In the third quarter of the year, we released the latest version of Vault as well. We had a few things over there. I'll talk about HTTP Vault Secrets, our new offering on the next slide. I'll talk about Vault scanning as well, and we released the main Vault version 1.15 that includes the new Vault Secrets operator for Kubernetes, now certified for OpenShift, secret sync to the various public clouds, and various other improvements around user interface. If you want to know more about things like this, there will be 2 breakout sessions that you might be interested to join. So the first one is the Vault and Kubernetes breakout by Johnny Fang. Your time is precious. Get rid of managing secrets at scale. So do attend that one in the Vault track. And then also we have in the Cloud 2.0 track, best practices for securing modern databases with Vault by Sohail Gulzar and Yoga Rampuria. So that's a place to learn more about. Now to go into Vault secrets, I've managed this already. If you look at our Vault solution now, we have now at this point 3 different offerings. So we started on the right-hand side with Vault Enterprise. That's the self-managed solution that maybe some of you are already running inside your own data center or your own public cloud provider. We have HTTP Vault, which is HashiCorp managed, a SaaS-style solution where we manage and we run the solution. This is a dedicated tenant or a single tenant solution where each of our customers runs their own Vault cluster, but we manage this as HashiCorp. And now we've added HTTP Vault Secrets. This is the more easier to use because there's nothing to set up, very quick to get started, and really build around developer friendliness. So we're only doing secrets management at this point in time. You can actually sync those secrets to other places as well. It's really done to make things as easy and simple as possible from a developer standpoint. It's free, up to 25 secrets, and they will charge if there are secrets more than that. So do give it a try. It's probably the easiest way to get started if you want to use Vault without having to do any effort around that. I'll talk a bit furthermore about the larger vision that we have behind Vault as well. Yeah? So we've been quite successful, if I can say, with Vault as a central place to store secrets. Yeah? We've been taking them out of applications and putting this inside Vault. But there are now other secret providers as well that some people prefer to use. Yeah? GitHub has GitHub Actions. There's a secrets functionality in there. The cloud providers all have their own secrets management solution as well. And all of those store secrets. They usually store them quite securely, they're encrypted, they're safe, but they don't always provide the full life cycle and rotation that we sometimes provide as well. So that's something that we can do in Vault. Having a full secret inventory, having that visibility in what is there, automating them automatically, and also report and audit on usage and make any recommendations on how to deal with them. So what we really want to do is combine those 2 together. So what if we can manage those things in Vault and then push them out to the different last mile secrets providers? So for that, we need a dynamic secret engine registry. So we need more plugins to connect to all of those systems. We can centrally create and manage the secrets inside Vault. We can rotate them, and we can push them out to all the places that actually provide secrets to the other systems as well. So this is where we're taking Vault in the longer term. Yeah? So the central place in your organization to manage all your secrets. For that, we need all those plugins to talk to all those different systems and send out our data. So the full picture, that will look like this. And what we really want to achieve here is to take all your secrets, automatically rotate them, and provide easy compliance. And Vault as the center point for all those secrets. The last thing in Vault that I want to speak about is the Blue Bracket acquisition that we did. So if we look at secrets from another perspective, I talked about secrets that were already automatically rotated and already done in Vault. But what we see actually the bulk of the secrets is out there, is unmanaged. You'll still have a large landscape in our customers with secrets direct inside application code, config files, environment variables, and other places. We find secrets also in other places. We find them on wiki pages, wikis, Confluence, Slack channels. All those places are popular places to share secrets with each other. Then we go through the life cycle. We can vault them. We can put them inside Vault. And we can do automatic rotation, and then we can move to dynamic credentials as sort of the final step. What we've done is an acquisition of a company called Blue Bracket that specializes in scanning and looking and finding those secrets. So we have actually renamed that now to be called Vault Radar. Vault Radar really focuses on that first part. So at the top of this diagram here, our solution to find the secrets in your environment that haven't been vetted yet. How does that work? It's a solution that runs, that basically will go out and scan various systems, things like a Confluence, like Git repositories, like Slack channels, like S3 buckets. It will go out and find secrets. It has a lot of standard secret patterns it recognizes to find those secrets. It has a way to remove false positives using machine learning. It can it can scan on-prem things, it can scan cloud-based things. We can customize the things that it scans for using regex expressions. And then finally, the results of this we can display, but we can also integrate into the shift-left movement. Rather than finding the secrets that are already out there, why don't we stop them getting out there in the first place? So we can integrate with a Git workflow. So to make a Blue Bracket scanning or a Vault Radar scanning part of a pull request and automatically stop anything that's trying to submit secrets or commit secrets to a repository. So that's what we're doing with Blue Bracket, Vault Radar. This is now in private beta. We actually have a customer in Singapore looking to explore this, and you'll hear more about this one when this becomes available. I wanted to put this one in here as well. There is the Cybersecurity Code of Practice for Critical Information Infrastructure in Singapore. I thought it would be appropriate to mention as well. We are in Singapore here, and we released a paper on this in about the July timeframe. This was written by Sean Lua, one of the SEs in our team, and he's also presenting later on today, not about this topic, but about something else, so making DevSecOps work. So if you'd like to know more about what Sean's doing and his recommendations, more from a process perspective and on things, how to improve the way of working in your organization, then do attend Sean's session, which is in the Cloud 2.0 track. Then we're moving on to Boundary. Boundary is probably the latest addition to our portfolio. So Boundary is our solution, if you haven't heard of it, for secure remote access. It's a way, so Vault is built to give access to secrets, primarily used by applications. Vault is intended to be used by developers, business analysts, administrators who need access to systems, databases, and anything else. What they can do in Boundary is authenticate to Boundary using an existing identity provider, something like Active Directory, Okta, or something else that supports OIDC. We can then connect to a virtual machine using SSH, Kubernetes, to do commands over there. I can connect to databases and various other systems as well. And how we connect actually is quite interesting because it allows us to do multi-hops across multiple network zones. We can use temporary or ephemeral credentials that sometimes the user doesn't even see because we inject them sort of transparently into the session. All the user needs to do is presented with a catalog of resources they can access, click on one of those, and then be connected to the system that they have access to. Latest one that we added to our portfolio, we released the latest version, we added support for LDAP. So for existing environments that use LDAP as the user directory, we can connect now to that. We make improvements in the user interface to make it easier to find large amounts of resources. Well, not find large amounts of resources, find the thing you need inside a large set of resources. And we included now a terminal as well to make it easier to connect with SSH directly. There is a dedicated session on Boundary. So if you want to learn more about Boundary, you can attend this one. It's called Securing Remote User Access Management by Ron Thiel. It is in the Vault track. We sort of combine Vault and Boundary together very often because under the cover it actually uses a lot of Vault. And it's a good place to learn more about Boundary. Now, Boundary, as I mentioned, is a fairly new solution still. We're still working on improving this further, yeah? So these are the sort of themes that we are working on as HashiCorp for Boundary. So first of all is the user access experience, yeah? So there is still command line effort involved in Boundary at the moment, so we want to simplify that further in the future and make it more user interface, graphical user interface driven, easier to use for people. Yeah, we made some good steps in that direction already. We're going to take that further as well. Then we're looking at, let's say, protocol support. Yeah, Boundary now has a good way of working with SSH connections, so it's able to give access to SSH with a single use credential injection, so the user doesn't even see that credential, and you can do session reporting as well to store what people are doing inside that session. So we're not quite there yet with Windows and the web endpoints, and that's the next thing that we're looking to add to the solution. So build this out further so we have the same capabilities for Windows Remote Desktop as well as for using web interfaces. And the final effort that we're putting in is on compliance. Yeah? So whatever compliance in this case is requiring. Right now we've got SOC 2 as part of our larger ACP offering, and then we're looking towards PCI as one of the next standards to comply with. And that's what we're doing with Boundary. That leaves us with two more to go. So I'll tell you about Consul and a little bit about Nomad, yeah, what we're doing over there. So Consul, for those of you not familiar with Consul, is our service registry or service discovery and our service mesh solution. The solution to essentially keep track, catalog all the different services or microservices out there in your organization. Make that data available through APIs, through DNS and other mechanisms to query that, do health monitoring of the services, and then do that in a multi-cloud environment, either on Kubernetes, on VMs, with ECS, or on-prem services as well. It works everywhere. Optionally as well, there is a service mesh in Consul. So that means you can actually let Consul handle the communication between the calling service and the caller. Then we can automatically use encryption. That's transparent to the application to encrypt the data on the network. We can use authentication and authorization as well. So instead of authorizing your service-to-service traffic by doing that at the firewall based on IP addresses, we can now do it on a sort of level 7 instead of level 4 by allowing access from service to service, just by using Consul as the mechanism to connect the services and to enforce that as well. You can also connect Consul to Terraform. So whenever a new service is registered or goes down or is removed, we can actually tell Terraform to do a certain thing, as in configure a load balancer, configure a firewall, or do something else that we want to automate. So that's basically what we're doing with Consul. Looking at the Consul roadmap, so we released our last version in October that has a few new interesting features in there, such as locality aware routing, what I want to call out here. Basically the ability, if you're running a large Consul environment across multiple cloud regions, we can make sure that even if you're on the same service in multiple cloud regions, you're always directed to the closest cloud region, saving you interregional costs and also improving latency, of course. We added OpenShift 4.12 support, We have a beta for multi-port support, so multiple ports used by the same application in a Kubernetes environment. We're adding rate limiting, JWT drop authentication, and a few other things as well. We're looking for a next release early next year somewhere. Then we're looking at having a long-term release as well. So having one release that will be actually, because customers say sometimes the rate of change is very high, we're looking for releases that will be available for a longer amount of time. We're going to GA the multi-cloud support, and we're looking to add more Consul data plates, in this case for VM. And the last thing I wanted to cover today is Nomad. So Nomad is our, I lost one slide here on what Nomad is. Nomad is our orchestration platform, yeah? So you heard me talk a lot about Kubernetes today, and Kubernetes is probably by far the most popular orchestration platform that our customers use, but there's still a place for Nomad as well. So Nomad is the orchestration platform that we have as HashiCorp. There's a few differences there. It's the ability to run many more types of applications, whether Java applications or just normal operating system executables. I can run containers as well. So it's a bit more flexible. And it also scales up to very, very large numbers. So we're testing sometimes with tens or hundreds of thousands of nodes inside the Consul cluster. We still see use cases for this, sometimes in IoT scenarios or large gaming environments or high-frequency trading in banks. But there's still a place for Nomad in cases where sometimes Kubernetes is not quite the right fit. What we're working on in Consul right now is we released Nomad 1.7 in beta, and we added workload identity. So the ability for each workload now to have its own signed authentication token that can be shared with other systems as well. And that will make it easier to communicate as a workload with external systems. I'll talk about the benefits of that as well. So this workload identity allows us to easily authenticate as a workload to a cloud environment and also to Consul and to Vault. So if you're using Nomad in combination with Consul, which is a common combination, or Nomad in combination with Vault, it's no longer necessary to manage any tokens. Yeah, the authentication from one system to the other is a lot more straightforward. It also reduces your client count on the Vault side. We added support for uniform memory architecture. So basically, Nomad is now NUMA aware if your application needs to be deployed somewhere near the other parts of the application on the same NUMA node, then Nomad can be made aware and make sure that the job actually runs at the right place. In the next release for Nomad, which we're planning for early next year as well, 1.8 is going to be primarily focusing on performance and stability. So that means we're going to test harder, work on the scheduling algorithms, work on increasing the number of jobs, nodes to make sure that everything will stay and remain functioning well. So that's what we're working on from a Nomad perspective. So this concludes this brief overview of what we're doing in HashiCorp with our main product lines, so from Terraform to Vault, Foundry, Consul, and Nomad. In the afternoon, we'll have the deep dive tracks. Yeah, so please also, if you're interested, go and join those and learn more in detail about what we released in Terraform, what we're doing with Vault and Kubernetes, Vault and databases, and maybe any of the other sessions. Thank you very much.